Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, banks write off 3.19 billion cedis as bad debt at the end of October this year. Also coming up, World Bank to disburse $300 million budget support to Ghana as soon as an International Monetary Fund deal is reached next month.
We require that agreement, and that agreement, unfortunately, is not yet concluded. We're hoping it was, so we can also go. But until it's concluded, we cannot go. At this point in time, the latest information that we have.
Also coming up, music concerts and end-of-year parties aren't the only events drawing crowds this Christmas. Patrons are also flocking to their favorite stage plays to commemorate the Yuletide. We'll talk about it on Show Business. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us. First up, banks wrote off 3.19 billion cedis as bad debt at the end of October 2023. That's according to the domestic bank's income statement published by the Bank of Ghana. The provisions were in the form of loan losses, depreciation, amongst others. Here's more in this report.
The bad debt recorded in October 2023 was far lower than the 1.74 billion cedis registered during the same period last year. Asset quality risk elevated in October 2023, reflecting the pickup in the non-performing loan stock and NPL ratio during the same period. The industry's NPL ratio increased to 18.3% in October 2023 from 14% in October 2022. This is on account of a higher growth in the NPL stock and a contraction in gross loans during the same period last year. Similarly, the NPL ratio adjusted for the fully provisioned loan loss category increased from 3.9% to 6.4% during the same comparative period. The NPL stock increased by 18.8% to 13.5 billion Ghana cedis in October 2023 from 11.3 billion cedis in October 2022, reflecting the deterioration in domestic currency loans. The private sector accounted for the largest share of the non-performing loans of 93.8% in October 2023.
Well, joining me on Zoom to discuss this is a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. Good afternoon to you. So according to the Bank of Ghana, the 3.19 billion cedi written off as bad debt at the end of October this year is at 9.5% growth year on year. What does this tell us?
Good afternoon. What we need to appreciate from this almost 10% increase in NPL for this period is clearly telling us that the credit condition of the country is not good. Hence, banks have extended credit facilities to individuals, corporate bodies, and there has been some difficulties in realizing the expected inflows from these entities and individuals that banks extended their credit to during the 1 year period under review. And for the regulator, this should be a case of concern because you don't want to supervising or regulating a particular sector that is known for having challenges in loan recovery and loan management. If you are a shareholder of the bank, you should also know that your bank is having difficulties or challenges in managing these loan books. And what that means is that very soon, if these provisions crystallize into losses, it will then affect the profits. And once it affects the profit, it will erode capital for the shareholders. If you are a depositor, if this trend should continue on as a depositor, they should be worried because you stand a chance in an extreme situation or extreme condition not being able to get your deposited funds. That is in an extreme condition. So clearly, it should be a concern for all, and the managers of the economy too should also be worried. That is, if this trend should continue into the future.
Do we pin this, the inability of individuals and businesses to pay back loans on the state of our economy currently?
Yeah, you cannot divulge or separate the economy and loan performance separately. You know, how the economy performs has a direct impact on businesses and businesses' ability to service or to meet their obligations. So if you have an economy that has gone through some difficulties and is yet to fully recover, then it means that individuals and businesses operating within that economy are also going to suffer same. So we cannot separate the performance of the economy from this particular non-performing loans situation we are considering. There is, of course, a positive and a direct link between the performance of the economy and then the ability of borrowers to service their loans.
And well, what's also telling, the private sector accounted for the largest share of non-performing loans of 93.8% at the end of October this year, also showing how the private sector is struggling, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But it is not too strange that the private sector is contributing to loan losses. One aspect, because about the private sector, you want to look at the public sector. The public sector will know, but for DDEP, the public sector loans, especially loans extended to government and government institutions, are in many instances zero rated in terms of risk weighting. So then it means that it's a private sector that exposes these banks heavily. But then if the government has taken investors through this period of DDEP, then the next avenue one we want to consider is to give credit facilities to the private sector. And so if you are having this surge in non-performance of loans from the private sector, then it means that the banks will have to reassess themselves and to look through the portfolio of businesses or business opportunities that exist in there and to be cautious as to the way forward in terms of raking in some interest income aside investment on deposited funds that they do business with.
Yeah, you started talking about what the implications are and why we should be worried. I just wanted to talk about it a bit more because, I mean, this year has not been easy for the banking sector, and having to write off 3.19 billion cedis as bad debt makes it even worse, doesn't it? I mean, what are the implications for the banks and the economy?
Yeah, what it means is that the banks will have to be a bit careful about which sectors of the economy they are giving credit to. Again, the banks will have to have, put in place robust recovery systems. The banks themselves will also have to do a self-assessment to know what is contributing to some of these, increases in non-performing loans. We should also not forget that a macroeconomic assessment will help the banks to really appreciate what is happening within the economy to guide future credit facilities. Of course, it is worrying to be seeing this amount of non-performing loans, but we have to be careful to say that these provisions are based on the International Financial Reporting Standard. It is possible that through recovery and future recovery, some of these loans will be paid. But as we speak now, this is what the books are telling us. It doesn't look good because if there has been an increase from last year to this year, then it means that things have not been well. Hence, we are seeing these numbers. But banks must still work hard and make sure that what they give out as loans, they try to get as much as they can from the loan facilities.
So you anticipate the banks to revise their approach when it comes to dishing out loans. So for the individual, is it going to get very difficult?
You need to understand the portfolio mix of the banks when it comes to their loan books and their loan portfolio. And I believe that the banks, being the real players in the industry, have a fair idea of which sectors of the economy, including retail and wholesale or what we call corporate clients, may be contributing to these loan books or problem loans that we are seeing. Having done that, with the details of the loan portfolio, the banks will then have to reposition themselves as to which areas or which sectors in their loan portfolios they can manage. These will rely on the expertise of the banks This rely on the risk appetite of the bank, and this will also rely on how much in terms of business the banks want to do. But until we have a detailed assessment of the bank's loan portfolio, it will be difficult for one to quickly say, don't give personal loans or don't give corporate loans. Each individual bank, through its own loan portfolio assessment or review, will know where the problem areas are. And then from these problem areas, the banks will then put in place the measures now and going forward in how to deal with the difficult clients or the difficult areas that they have in terms of the loans.
All right, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. I appreciate your time with us on the marketplace. Now, the World Bank has indicated that it will disburse $300 million to Ghana next month to support the country's 2024 budget. This is subject to Ghana reaching a deal with bilateral creditors on debt restructuring and securing an IMF board approval on January 11 next year. Pierre Laporte is outgoing World Bank Country Director, and he has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
Requirements for us to go to our board is for the macroeconomic framework, the fiscal framework, the financing has to be completely locked. Okay? At this point in time, and this requires, among other things, the debt restructuring that's been going on. And one of them, as well as restructuring of the bonds that will come, there is a critical one, the domestic restructuring which was completed, but also the bilateral restructuring. And this one is still not completed. At this point in time, the creditor committee between Paris Club and other bilaterals have been discussing. We require this agreement because when this agreement is done, the level of debt repayment of Ghana will go down because the debt will be formally restructured. Today, post-agreement, your debt repayment is at a level that leaves a financing gap in your budget. And we cannot, IMF cannot go to a board with a program that is not fully funded. So once that restructuring is agreed, then formally your debt level goes down, and this is what has been factored into the fiscal framework, into the debt sustainability analysis framework. So we require that agreement, and that agreement, unfortunately, is not yet concluded. We were hoping it was, so we can also go. But until it's concluded, we cannot go. At this point in time, the latest information that we have is there's close to closure. And with that, we would be able to go, hopefully, before the end of January.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking show business. Welcome back to The Marketplace. Music concerts and end-of-year parties aren't the only events drawing crowds this Christmas. Patrons are also flocking to their favorite stage plays commemorate the Yuletide. But how are players in the theatre industry ensuring that these activities provide value for all? Culture journalist Kenneth Awochidako joins me with more on today's edition of Show Business. I think I have a feeling where this story idea for discussion is coming from. But I'll go ahead and ask you anyway. Why the topic theatre today?
I understand why it would be funny to you because on Monday, I think I snuck out afterward to catch some stage play. Was The Gods Are to Blame, and by Olariti, was an adaptation that was being, run by Image Bureau on Monday. So that's why I actually met you over there.
Okay.
Well, so that's why you're having that funny feeling, basically.
Yeah, so great play.
You saw it.
Exciting to watch. By the way, he wasn't there alone. We'll get into that. But I just want us to watch a bit of that, and then we'll come back to the discussion.
This is the reward which you now as king must give to me for picking you up in the bush. picking me up in the bush?
My lord, we have returned from Ipetu. My lord.
Hey, wait outside. Wait outside.
What bush?
No, it's the truth.
What bush?
The bush in Ipetu village.
Hey, the bush in Ipetu? It is enough, my lord.
Hey, I must know who I am.
But, my lord, the man doesn't know what he's saying.
Yes.
He has lost his head.
Hey, you come close again.
Hey, Otu.
You see who said we'll be lost.
Otu.
Speak on, brother. What were you doing there in Ipetu bush?
Hunting with my master, Ogundele.
And you saw me in the bush?
Yes. A man brought you there, wrapped in white cloth like sacrifice to the gods. Your arms and feet were tied with strings of cowries.
All right, and so that was The Gods Are Not to Blame. I mean, I've read the book several times because I did literature in school, but the play came alive at the National Theatre. And what also was of interest to us, I mean, as you talked about it at the end of the play, was the interest shown by Ghanaians when it comes to stage plays recently. Tell us about that.
So basically, if you were there, you'd find that there was a very, immense sense of community, because a lot of people who have read the book, like yourself, had the opportunity to see it again for themselves, which, triggers some other sense within them, which basically goes a long way to emphasize the importance of, the performing arts industry, basically. So the sense of community around the time, and also the economic impact that was seen around the event space, was basically one of the reasons why I felt like being a business show is something that I would like to go into as well.
All right, so let's talk about, because we are on the money side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, globally, what it's looking like when it comes to theater.
So if you look at the US alone, the market size for live performance in terms of theater rose by 21% last year. And this year it's projected that this revenue is going to reach $8.7 billion this year alone. So if you look at the global, this figure from the US, and you compare it to what Africans are putting into their work, you understand that there's more that is in for creatives in this space if they decide to venture into this sector in the right way and in the best means possible.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any figures locally that we can, look at to see how, the potential for theater in the country, but why is it important in the scheme of things and growing our, economy through theater?
So in the general scheme of things, right, there is the fact that it provides entertainment. In a country like Ghana, where there's a lot going on, people need an outlet. Entertainment is one of the key, areas that people can go to find that, default setting that they need to be able to go about their day, basically. So one, entertainment is very key. The use of soft power, many countries have used these things. I mean, even during the time of our first president, Nkrumah, he has used, he was known for using soft power in terms of using culture, tradition, among others, music, to, propel some sort of values and imbibe hardworking citizens. So that's another thing that, can be seen through this, creative space as well, in terms of stage plays and, live performance and theater as well. And also when it comes to, the economic impact. I mean, if you were at the National Theatre on Monday, you realize that there was a lot of economic activity going, about during, before, and even after the, the screening or the watching of the play. You'd find people buying all of these things. Those, monies that are being generated around are also going back into the economy and also helping create more employment for people who find themselves around the, the theater art ecosystem as well. So these are very, key areas that...
Yeah, I mean, for instance, The Gods Are Not to Blame, I think it was staged a couple of weeks ago, and then they did the rerun for 3 days, and then it was overly booked, and then they had to do an extra 2 days.
Exactly.
I know Roverman Productions is also doing something this Christmas. It shows there's potential. So what can be done to improve the industry so we can make money from that?
So one of the key areas has to do with funding. And this is something that a lot of the industry players in the, the stage play and the drama sector have been, been trumpeting a lot, because sometimes there is a lot of content out there. There is a lot of creativity that they put into making these, stage plays and movies also as well. But when it comes to funding, that becomes a very difficult thing for them. So most of them are usually asking for more funds to be able to churn out some of these, great plays that we all talk about, so that they can also put them out there for other people to also see. Another, interesting thing that they've been asking for is the availability of spaces in terms of theater venues, or basically spaces that they can effectively communicate the type of audiovisual or drama that they have created for people to see it in the very unique essence for which it was created. I mean, it's one thing to create the drama, or it's one thing to create the atmosphere or the content, but it's another thing to create the enabling environment that you want people to see that particular artwork through. So these are some of the things that they are looking forward to, that if government or private agencies also come in to help propel, it's going to help increase the interest in
it takes so much money to produce a good piece, and I think people enjoyed it because of the investments made in producing that masterpiece. Yeah. And so I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to see you before the New Year, but
we'll see how that goes. But many happy returns to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Kenneth Awoshidaako is our culture journalist here at myjoyonline.com. And we'll move on to another story before we wrap up. Ghanaian media personality and CEO of EIB Network, Nathan Kwabena Anoche DC, better known as Bola Ray, is set to empower 25 Ghanaian entrepreneurs under the age of 30 through his Entrepreneurship with Bola Ray initiative. Speaking at the official launch of the program, Bola Ray indicated that the initiative will support beneficiaries with funding and resources to help expand their businesses.
That forms part of Bola Ray's 25 years in the media anniversary, which is under the theme Impact at 25. The initiative, which is in partnership with the European Union, is a comprehensive startup support program that aims to nurture and elevate young entrepreneurs who are passionate about building impactful businesses but lack crucial resources and guidance.
25 budding entrepreneurs under 30 years, you will be resourced, you will be mentored, and clearly you are getting some capital incentives as well. This initiative, in partnership with the European Union, is designed to provide aspiring entrepreneurs with the necessary resources, guidance, and support, and to turn ideas to successful ventures.
Ambassador of the European Union, Rashad Razali, who serves as the grand mentor of the program, emphasized that the Union decided to partner the initiative as it aligns with their mission to promote job creation.
One of the key priorities of the European in Ghana is to create room for job creation and to support entrepreneurship. And the moment I've been asked to join in this initiative, which is the Bola Ray Entrepreneurship Initiative, to support 25 Ghanaian entrepreneurs, I did not hesitate 1 second, because I felt this was a good platform to create space for giving mentorship, advisors, and accompany and support 25 talented Ghanaians to move forward. Some of them will and want to open their businesses, some of their projects, so I think it's the best way to support them.
Project manager Annabelle Mensah-Brown stated that the program will extend beyond the initial 25 individuals, with subsequent batches also benefiting from the initiative.
All right, and that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. More from that exclusive with the outgoing World Bank Country Director on myjoyonline.com/business. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you sometime soon.